to this doubt clearing session where I will clear your doubts. So I figure out some people who was facing some difficulties following my previous videos. So I thought I will make a separate video to clear all the doubts. Like there are 2-3 doubts. I have listed them out. Now what I'll do, I'll walk you through all of them, or you can skip to the part where you are facing the particular difficulty. So let's start. And before starting, take some prerequisites out of the way. I'm using this JDBC connector. You can download the same version which I am using, like the version 8. Any version 8 will be fine, I think. And for database, I am using this sample MySQL database. I have already created a project like show data where I have one table, I have one text field, so I don't have to do this all over again. Everything is done. Like there are already this vector field created. I am already putting data here. There's something just missing, like the data, that how the data will come. So I will just show you that part. The first part is already there on my previous videos. You can, if you want, you can check them out. So now what you have to do, you have to create another package driver, and you have to copy the MySQL connector driver to this package, and then go to this libraries, add jar folder, and navigate to your project. Like my project is here in NetBeans project doubt session 1 src driver, and I have imported this MySQL connector which is showing here. What we are going to do, we are going to create another package. I will name this package as db, and inside this db I am going to create a class db helper, right? Now inside this class I'm going to create a static block to make our connection, and then I'm going to create some methods which will help us to fetch some data, right? So why I am using static block is because static blocks run when the class loads. So the connection will be established when our class is loading. Now the first thing you will do is class dot for name, and here we'll pass the package com.mysql.cj.jdbc, and then the class name, that is driver, which is fine, and we will use print stack trace, right? Now what we are going to do, so class.forName, what it will do, it will load our class, this driver class. It will load our driver class. Second thing which we are going to do is we are going to make our connection, right? So we will create a class level variable which is connection con. Second thing is statement st, because we are going to use it outside the static block also. So we should have our reference outside this static block. Now to get the value inside this connection is driver manager dot get connection. Here we have to pass the URL. So this is our first route. We are going through creating JDBC connection. The first route is JDBC URL. So what should be the URL? Okay, so URL is very simple. Just have to write JDBC :MySQL / localhost. Why we are using localhost? Because this MySQL server is running on our localhost :3306, which is our port number, then / our schema name, which is classic models, I think. In place of user I will write root, which is my username, and in place of password I will write 1234567 So my connection will be established from here. It is asking for a catch clause. We are done with this catch clause. ex.print stack trace. Okay, so we have to create this variable static because they are used in static block, so it's only okay. Now what we have to do, we have got our connection. Now we are going to create a statement out of it. Create statement, right? So we are done with the JDBC connection. I'll mark it off. JDBC URL is done. Now what we are going to do, we are going to create a method to get our data, which will be public because we are going to use it outside from this package. It will return result set. Get data will be the name, and instead of writing it as int id, na, you can write it as string id. Okay, there is one package import, right? Now what we are going to do, we are going to use prepared statement to get this data. So we will create another static prepared statement, which is get data. Package import. So now get data is equal to con dot prepare statement. This one. Here what we are going to do, select star from employees where employee number like, we are using like here, and what we are going to do, we are using question mark because the value will come at runtime. So the advantage of using a prepare statement is it will go to the MySQL and it will get compiled. Only the data will come at runtime, so the whole statement will be already compiled. So there will be a performance improvement using this. Now what we are going to do, in our get data method, we are going to set the data, which is get data dot set string, and the parameter is 1 and the id is this. So we will use a throws clause instead of try catch here, so that we can handle this exception where we are going to call this method. Now notice here we are using id, which is an integer. I will show you how it is an integer, but we are using it as a string. Now get data dot execute query, which will return us a result set, and we are going to return this rs. So this is one way, or I can directly write return. I can directly write return here instead of using rs. It will reduce one line, that's all. Now this is done. I am going to my show data file, and here I am writing like db, which is my package name, dot db helper, which is my class name, and then get data. Here I am writing the text which I will get, that is text dot get text, and I'm going to trim that. I have to make this also and static because we are not creating an object, right? We are just using db helper class name to access this method, so I have to declare this as static. So now I'll give it a run. You see I have some empty rows here and I don't have any data, and I am having an exception also. So let me check what the exception is. Exception is in my root access denied. Why? So my password is 9 also. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. My password was wrong. Now it should run. Okay. Right now I'm not getting any data and there are some empty rows also. And if I press space and then backspace, table is empty but I don't have any data still. So why is that? Because the first thing why I'm not getting any data is because I am using like query and I am not giving any percentage sign here. So we have to write a percentage sign in order to execute our like query. Like query, what it does now, it will check, like if I write plus and then percentage, if my id is 1003 and then I write 1, and the percentage will do like give me all the ids which are starting with 1. And if I write it as percentage starting and ending, like if I write it like this, then if there is an id 213, it will also be written because I am writing it as 1%, so it will find all the entries which have 1, no matter starting or ending. And in this scenario I will only have the ids which are starting from 1. So it's totally up to you what you are planning to do. Now if you are using an integer id, I think you should not use starting percentage, because you should only have ids which are starting from 1, so it will make more sense. Now the second thing which we were getting, like we were getting some empty rows, right? That was because the table now, this populating table and removing this previous rows, it is happening whenever I am releasing some key, that is text key release. Text is nothing but my variable name here, text field variable name. So I have to call this method in the constructor and I will pass null. So what will happen when the class will load, the constructor will call init components and then it will call this text key released automatically, and what it will do, it will remove all the previous entries and it will insert the data using no key. And because we have used like query, even if there is nothing, there will be percentage, and percentage will mean all, so it will show all the data. Now if I give it a run, you'll see it will already be populated like this. Second thing, it is starting on the left and top hand side. I want it to be initialized in the center. What I can do, and after this init component I can write this dot set location relative to and then null. Now if I run this file, you will see it is starting in the middle. I want the IDs 1 0, so I will see only the IDs with 1 0. If I write 0, it will not work. If I write 2, it will not work because I don't have any IDs starting from 0 or 2. Now I'll write 1 4, I'll get IDs from 1 4. If you want to, like if you want those IDs which have 0 in the middle or 1 in the middle, you have to write it like percentage then plus. Now if I give it a run, if I write 0 here, it will show all the details which have 0 in the middle or 2. But what make more sense right now is to use it without percentage in the starting. So it covered with this, using integer value is covered. And FYI, this value, let me open this table and show it to you. This field is integer. Here it is an integer and I am using it as a string, so it still works. It will cast it to the string and use this like method. Now the third thing, which is using multiple values, like see, if I want to filter using first name and last name both, like I want F in first name also and in last name also. No, To do that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create another method, public static result set get data with multiple values, and I'm going to accept two values, first name, last name. And now I'm going to create a prepared statement as well, which is I can write here get data with multi values, get data with multi values. Now con dot prepare statement select star from employees where now we are going to use first name and last name. So where first name, let me scroll a bit, first name like question mark. And now what we are going to do, we are going to use a logical operator, so I will use or. Last name like question mark, and it's done. The query is completed. I just have to call it here, get data dot set string. First parameter is going to be my first name, get data dot set string last name, and now return get data dot execute query, use a throws, right, save it, come here, use instead of this result set, I'm going to use my new method, is result set rs tv dot get data with multiple values, and I'm going to use the same text dot get text dot trim, same I'll paste it here, give it a run, database error. Let me just print the stack trace here and I will get to know what is the error. Stack trace. So we know what's the error. Parameter index out of range, which is 1. Go here. Why it is okay, I'm using the wrong variable name. That's why. Copy this name from here, paste it here, paste it here, paste it here. I think we are good to go. Give it a run again. I'm not seeing any data, not sure why. Have a look at this once again. What am I missing? It is running, that for sure. Okay, the same mistake. I'm not using the like this percentage clause. Percentage plus percentage. Same thing here. Change this variable name to last. Now run it again. It's good that these errors are coming in front of you. So like if you encounter any of them, you can resolve it. Now if I write I, you will see all the names which have I in them, no matter in the first name or in last name. Like this is having I in first name, not in last name. So I'm getting these values. Now if I want the I to present in both the names, I will simply replace this or by and and now you will see if I write I, I'm only having those names which have I in first name as well as last name. So it's done now. This is also done. Now the another interesting method which I was going to show you is this. I have already created it, this one. So here what I have done, it's the same data, but there is one magic here. Like if I write 1002, it's filtering by ID. If I write Diane, it's sorting by name. If I write 5800, it's sorting by size. If I write MBATTR, it is sorting by email. Ignore these column names. Actually, it was from the previous table. Ignore them. Just focus on the data. So this is a very interesting method which you can explore. Also, already created video about this method. I will give the link in the description for that method. So that's it. I think we can wind up our doubt clearing session 1. Hope to see you next time.